What's up, everybody? Hope you're having a great start to your weekend. And that this message mustache, I was trying to fit mustache in there, didn't really do a good job of that, so I apologize. Welcome into the first Saturday edition of the OBR Draft Show. I'm your host, Jacob. I got a great guest lined up, and we'll get to him in just a second. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up. This is the first live Saturday draft show, but we're going to be doing this every Saturday morning, looking at college football through a NFL draft lens, talk to you about some prospects on the Browns radar, on my radar, all the things, the big matchups, and kind of get you ready for college football each week. So I'm glad you decided to join us for this inaugural episode on the Saturday. Hey, real quick housekeeping right now. You can get an annual membership to the OBR, the VIP membership, for 75% off. It's literally $30 for the entire year. Like, it's insane. It's like $250 a month. Like, so if you're not subscribed to the OBR, go to theobr.com, get one of those VIP subscriptions. Lots of exclusive content, VIP content, with a lot more coming down the pipe that I can't talk about yet, but is coming down the pipe. So you'll want to do that with Brown season kicking off, and all of Lane's insider information and rumors and stuff, I think pays for the membership in and of itself. So make sure you go over there to theobr.com and grab yourself one of those as the season gets ready to kick off. So I'm going to bring in my buddy here, host of the Scarlet and Gray Podcast, Mr. Tyler Johnson. There we go. What's up, dude?
Hey, man. It's good to talk with you again. It's been a while since we've done a show together, but I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I realized that the other day when I texted you. I was like, "There's no one else like to preview this first week because Ohio State is in the spotlight right out the gate. There's no one else I'd want to talk to but you." And I'm like, "Shit, when's the last time we did it?" I was like, those things happen, man. Like I've gotten some memories of pods that we did that have now been like 2-3 years old. They've been popping up on Facebook, and I'm like, man, we've been going at this for it's like it's
man. It really is crazy just how fast time flies. I mean, we've talked, extensively the last couple weeks and whatnot. I mean, dude, I got a 4-month-old now, so like it's just time's just flying by, dude. It really is.
You just think that's the things that old people tell you that when you're a kid, and then you're like, no, it's actually
exactly.
So let's dive into the first game, man. The first game, obviously, we want to talk about Ohio State, Texas. So we're going to start with Ohio State. And I'll start with who I think is probably the most important player, maybe not to Browns fans, but maybe in this game. And I know you're as dialed in to Ohio State as anybody, but Caleb Downs is going to play a big part if Ohio State wants to win, because, we'll talk about Arch Manning in a second, the Texas quarterback, but like, trying to have that chess piece in Caleb Downs, the safety who can kind of do everything. I wrote about him a little bit at the OBR, but if you wanted to just kind of what's the buzz around Caleb, talk about him as a player, like what we should expect today?
Yeah, man. Caleb Downs, it's still remarkable that he's a Buckeye. The whole transfer saga that went down with him, there were a lot of reports last year he was going to end up at Georgia because his former defensive back coach took a coordinator job over there, had a great relationship with them at Ohio State, and Ryan Day came in and was able to get him. Huge pickup. Caleb Downs, though, was already a leader of the Buckeye defense as a sophomore, as a transfer, and now he's a team captain as a junior, which is just incredible. He is a guy that is going to line up everywhere for Ohio State, so something Matt Patricia, the new defensive coordinator, is doing with Caleb Downs. I don't know how much we're going to see it today, but I do expect to see it. Caleb Downs is going to be playing some nickel. That's one new wrinkle. He did not do much of that last year because you had Lathan Ransom and Caleb Downs on the back end of your secondary. Oh, and my bad, Jordan Hancock was back there too. Yeah. So the entire secondary was loaded. But now Caleb Downs is going to be the leader of this defense, and Caleb Downs is going to be everywhere. He's going to play free safety, strong safety. He's going to play nickel. They might bring him close to the line of scrimmage, maybe in a linebacker type role. Matt Patricia, one thing I'm curious about, he's different than Jim Knowles, of course. He's going to play to the strengths of his players and not necessarily the scheme. And so Matt Patricia's defense changes consistently. And with Caleb Downs, you now have a chess piece that you can move everywhere. And I heard what you said about maybe Browns fans shouldn't be as tuned into him. I'll say this. I would take Caleb Downs as a top 5 pick, and I wouldn't think twice about it because not only for the Browns, you have Grant Delpit, and that's it. You have a bunch of veteran safeties that, I mean, maybe one of them will end up being decent. Ronnie Hickman, as a UDFA, has actually been very good. I mean, if you can be a UDFA and stick on the roster and be a starter, you clearly can play. But you put Caleb Downs and Grant Delpit together, oh my goodness. So if the Browns, for whatever reason, I don't think it's going to happen, but if the Browns don't go quarterback, or they actually make both first-round picks, which I still don't think that's going to happen either, because I think they're going to – 2027's got – anyway, yeah.
Some heavy hitters. Yeah.
2027 draft coming out. So, man, I would take Caleb Downs, and I wouldn't think twice about it. I know there are other needs, but safety is a true need, and safeties don't go that high, but there are exceptions, and Caleb Downs, to me, is the exception. He is, to me, probably the most talented player at any position. I truly think he is a guy that comes in and leads an NFL defense from year one. So that's what I'm expecting him to do for Ohio State, and I think it's going to cause problems for Arch Manning, that's for sure.
I mean, you saw what Kyle Hamilton just got, right? Like Kyle Hamilton just got what I would consider. I think Kyle Hamilton's even underpaid, to be completely honest. Like, I think I saw some other people say that, and I'm like, yeah, like he got a historic contract because he's a safety, but like, there's Kyle Hamilton to Caleb Downs' game in terms of like, this is a chess piece, man. Like, that's what I wrote. And the only reason I say about maybe Browns fans not is just because I don't know if they'll be in the position to take him that high because of the quarterback conundrum, and that's because otherwise, like, you want a dream scenario. And this is not
you're gonna hit the exact scenario that I've probably been telling people for weeks. So let's hear it. I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with this.
If you win like 7 games, right? 7 games, you're usually picking like 10 to maybe 8 to 13, somewhere in that range. Like you're going to be in the back. Maybe you're in the top 10, but you're probably in the early teens, like the early double digits. And Jacksonville wins like 1. And so you take your quarterback at 1, and then people go, oh, I can't take a safety in the top 10. And he falls to like 11, and the Browns win like 7 games and miss the playoffs, but we have a lot of fun. And then we end up with a quarterback in Caleb Downs. Because like if that happened, dude,
that's nuts. That's a ridiculous haul. First, you got to hope that we can actually identify the quarterback. That's a whole other conversation.
Oh, wow.
But the other scenario I'll flip to you, I touched on it briefly. The scenario that I think is also at play here is you take your quarterback and they flip that pick. They flip 2026 and they load up for 2027 when you have your opportunity of potentially Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams. I mean, like Colin Simmons. It's going to be ridiculous. So that's the other scenario I think is at play. And if for some reason, because everyone's so infatuated with him, even though he has yet to start a college football game on the road, even if Arch Manning waits another year, you put yourself in position. If they somehow don't take that quarterback in the top 10, top 5, wherever it is, then that scenario is at play too. So
I think that's a really interesting scenario because if I look at my top 10, my top, and I'm like a true seasoned veteran podcaster. I do not have it pulled up. So we're going to get it to it in a second because I'm an idiot. But if I look at my top 10 at quarterback, it's really interesting because you talk Sam Leavitt, Aiden Childs, John Mateer, Arch Manning, like they're all Lenore Sellers. They're like all underclassmen that could go back.
Yep. And it can't be ruled out with the NIL these days. It just can't.
If you're not going in the first round as a quarterback, in my mind, if you've got eligibility, go back. Because you're going to make as much money. Like, look at what Carson Beck's getting. Like, he was a day 3 guy. If he had gone last year, he would have been a day 3 guy. He's probably making this year more money than his entire rookie contract would have been if he had actually gone through with his initial plan.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. Just an interesting, like, why does it feel like the best year to be bad in a decade is next year? And it's always that way, brother. It is always built that way. Let's talk about Arch Manning. We won't get too crazy about Arch Manning just because I don't think he's coming out this year. But if I was told like unanimously, like you're the number 1 pick, it might be hard for me to say no. Like just if that's on the table. So Ohio State's defense, we talked about Caleb Downs is possibly the best player in college football, certainly up there, especially if you talk defense. As in going into this year, there's obviously going to be some guys that are going to surprise us, both with the draft and underclassmen, upperclassmen, all those guys that take leaps. But Arch Manning, he's already been crowned the future. And I feel bad for him in that sense because, like, he could go out there today and say, let's say he goes out there today, completes 65% of his passes, 200 yards, couple touchdowns, maybe one turnover. Like, that's a pretty solid debut on the road against a top 5 team. People will bury him, right? Like, has got to go out there and be amazing. Ohio State's defense has got a bunch of people that there's a bunch of turnover, especially on the defensive line. Like, where's the pressure going to come from? Because a lot of guys have moved on. I know they've got plenty of talent in the back end, but or up and coming talent on the defensive line. But, like, 3 starters off that defensive line. I'm thinking of JTT and Jack Sawyer and Tyleik Williams. Like, those guys are gone. Very important pieces. Arch Manning, though, is going into a very hostile environment for his first road start. Like, how do you feel about, like, what realistic expectations should probably be for the young quarterback?
I personally think everyone needs to temper him because he has not. I looked this up when I did our Ohio State versus Texas game day preview, and people can check that out on the Network 216 YouTube channel. But Arch Manning has not thrown a pass on the road. He has played and he has started games, but he has not played on the road besides running the football a couple of times. He has not thrown. In his first game he started, and again, I understand it's your first college start. You're playing Louisiana Monroe at home, and he completes 51% of his passes. He throws 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Like, it was very underwhelming. And even the start against Mississippi State, he played a lot better. I believe, like 327 yards, 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. But the expectations, man, aren't high. You're losing Texas, everyone needs to remember, not only did Ohio State lose a ton of talent, Texas lost a ton of talent as well. And you lost Gunnar Helm, you lost Matthew Golden, and you lost Isaiah Bond. Those are 3
and your
weapons.
2 tackles.
Yeah, you lost Cameron Williams and you lost Kelvin Banks Jr. You lost and Jaden Blue. You lost all of that talent on the offensive side of the ball, and he is going into Columbus. And I can say, as much as I'm frustrated, this is a big noon kickoff. It's still Columbus. It's still the Horseshoe. It's going to be loud. It's going to be rocking. And I know his family lineage. I know it's the Mannings. I'm sure he's been taught by the best, coached by the best throughout his entire career. But nothing can truly prepare you for when you step on that football field for the first time as the start. And again, he's done it before, but he's done it for home games. He has not done it anywhere like this before. Texas is battling injuries at wide receiver. They're battling injuries. At left tackle, they're battling injuries. And that's a big deal. He is going to have to carry the load. Yeah, you bring back Quentin Winsner at running back, but that's really it, dude. Ryan Wingo is going to stretch the defense, but it's going to be on Arch to make plays. And I said this, I think Arch has 2 turnovers in this game. I really do. I'm not expecting him to play bad, but I'm not expecting him to light it up. And I would say the same thing about Julian Sayin. Man, like, these are 2 really good teams. It's going to be a defensive battle. No quarterback's going to light it up. And I think with Arch, people got to remember, Arch is going to start in the SEC. And this Texas team is not, in my opinion, is not as talented as the one last year. And he's supposed to lead it. And I'm just not, I don't agree with naming a kid the number 1 pick and the Heisman Trophy winner when we have no evidence that supports that information other than, in my opinion, this is what's happening, other than his last name. That is Manning. And everyone is crowning him this early. And I'm not here to say he's going to be bad because I don't think he will. You're not the number 1 overall recruit in your class for no reason. You're just not. So I'm expecting him to play well this season, but I don't think it's going to be today. I think he's going to struggle, and I think Julian Sayin's going to struggle on the other side.
I think that's fair. Like, I'm really interested in their left tackle and Trevor Gooseby. His name? Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah. I pronounce it wrong all the time, man.
I'm like, being a full-time draft guy is like being a linguist. Like, because like I just spend so much time, which is why I love the sport, right? Because you got people coming from, not saying that Goosby's coming from a different, but you get people that are coming from all over the world, different continents and stuff, and to play college football, and it's really fun. But like I get to these he's wearing a club today. Right?
Yep.
Like your left tackle, and I love him. Like I have him as a draft prospect. He is in my top 10 at left tackle. He's a guy that I'm really going to watch, but like, that's going to be a big deal, man. Like he's going up against a reloaded defensive line in Ohio State. We talked about that. They are reloaded in the sense that like most of their mainstays just aren't there this year. Not that there's not talent, but there's guys that have got to prove themselves. And Gooseby, man, like I like him a ton. Like at that left tackle position, he's got to be ready for this. I think you talked about it. Like Arch is going to have to, really put this team on its back. But that left tackle spot, I think Browns fans should watch very closely. If he's able to, with a hand that he just had surgery on, and a club in Columbus, if that dude can protect Arch, he might be ready to protect in Cleveland. Like, so is what I'm getting at. But like, that's a key matchup for me. Like, is Kenyatta Jackson, is he on that side? Is that the side that he plays?
So they like to rotate their defensive ends. Okay. And I'm expecting that to be the case today. If he's not matched up against him, then I think that is a mistake by Larry Johnson. We could talk about Larry Johnson ad nauseum because that's a whole other route that I've about had it with. But he needs to be matched up against him. But I'll say this, even if it's Bo Atkinson, even if it's Caden Curry, I think either one of them get the job done. I think Caden Curry's highly underrated, but Kenyatta Jackson Jr., this is my opinion. Again, like, let me stress that to people. I believe he was the most talented pass rusher on the roster, and I believe that he was last year. I think he's that good. I really do, because the speed factor, and that's something JT and Jack Sawyer that's just not who they are. They're more power guys. And Kenyatta Jackson Jr., if he's matched up against him, I have him getting a sack and a half today. I think he's going to wreak absolute havoc on that offensive line. And because Brandon Baker, man, he's another first-year starter too. He's a high-talented 5-star recruit, but he was battling for that job all camp. And I'm expecting the Buckeye defensive line. They are kind of like you said, you're replacing a ton of guys there, but also you still have veterans ready to step in. You have, again, Bo Atkinson, transfer from North Carolina, great opportunity for him. He's been apparently lighting it up, but he might not even start because Caden Curry, it looks like he's going to start, but it'll be a rotation. But yeah, Kenyatta, they're going to rotate them. And then you're going to see NASCAR packages of all three of them on the field. And then Caden McDonald, defensive tackle, in there as well. But then you might see Sonny Styles near the line of scrimmage. You might see, I know you'll see Caleb Downs near the line of scrimmage. You're going to see all kinds of rotation, man, that you wouldn't see under Jim Knowles. I'm just telling. Matt Patricia's a different animal. I know people are like freaked out because he didn't have success as an NFL head coach and things like that. But one thing he's pretty good at, he plays to his players' strengths, and he's got all the talent at his disposal. And I really can't wait to see how it's used against Arch Manning to really confuse him, because I do believe Arch is going to see some things he has not seen before. I do believe that.
It's very interesting too, because with Gooseby, I like him because he's a really strong player and has quick feet. So he should be able to respond to either type of rusher, but it's like, how are you going to be able to do it with one hand? I'm very interested in that, because it's like, I remember, so this is kind of so I remember going into 2020 for the Cleveland Browns with Kevin Stefanski. They're going into their first game with Kevin Stefanski as head coach, and they're going against Baltimore, coming out of the coming out of the COVID training camp, where like they had like 3 practices together or whatever. I know that's an exaggeration, but like, I remember someone saying like, "Hey, I don't think the Browns are going to be able to win this game." It's just John Harbaugh, a bunch of players that have been there together versus a first-time head coach in his first game with a lot of different pieces. And I tended to agree with that. And they're like, but if he can get it done, we might really have something in this head coach. Of course, obviously it didn't go well. That game didn't go well. But that's how I feel about Trevor Gooseby at left tackle, where it's like there's going to be a lot of things that are stacked against you, and he's made starts. He's been on both sides. He filled in at both tackle positions when Cam Williams and Kelvin Banks missed time last year for Texas, and so he's been out there. But like, you're the dude now. Like, you're the dude. You just had surgery. You know, like, how are you going to go? I want to look at on the other side. Mm-hmm. So I want to look first at a wide receiver for Ohio State and then a safety for Texas, and then we'll move on to some of the other stuff. So Carnell Tate, right? We'll move on to other games. Carnell Tate he's such a fascinating draft prospect for me this year because I don't know where to put him for a few different reasons. So I'm really, really interested to hear your take on this. But he's one of those guys where it's like, is he a 4.4 guy? No. Is he slow? No. Like, you know, is he really big? He's some, you know, it's like when you talk about the elite physical traits, they're not necessarily there with Carnell Tate, but he's just such a consistent football player. Like, he just gets the ball done, good route runner, good separator, like knows where he needs to be. I think he attacks zone coverage so well. Like, I think Carnell Tate's like, oh, you're going to, right here. He does the little Travis Kelce thing where he's able to just sit there in the hole in zone coverage and just wait for his quarterback. I think, like Julian's saying, if he's going to have some success today, I think Carnell Tate's going to, obviously Jeremiah Smith, right? And obviously, play. But like, if he can get that like third down stuff to Carnell Tate, like he's taking a step up to being wide receiver 2 after wide receiver 3. He's just fascinating to me because, like I said, I wouldn't call him elite physically at anything, but I think he's really good at playing wide receiver. Like, I just, you know, so like, how do you feel about Carnell Tate this year overall, not just today, but this year overall?
Yeah. So with Carnell Tate, man, it's been kind of crazy, just his rise. So as a freshman, everyone's expecting Brandon Enos. He was the guy in that class that everyone's like, oh, he's the next big thing. And Carnell Tate is the one that gets his black stripe removed first. Now, to Enos's credit, he was a late enrollee. So for him to even lose his black stripe, like as a late enrollee, that is pretty remarkable in itself. But with Carnell Tate, it's just kind of incredible. Because he last year was the third receiver, still puts up over 700 yards, multiple touchdowns, 6'3", 195. This is a guy you kind of talked about. There is no really elite trait from him, but he just does everything well on the football field. He's good in the run game as a blocker. He is a guy that he can run. He had multiple touchdowns last year that were over 20 yards. I mean, down the field. He doesn't drop the ball. I say that, and he dropped one in the national title game that should have been a walk-in touchdown on a slant. But he just does everything well, and he's the next, in my opinion, he's going to be the next first-round pick in the draft. There's just someone that's going to take him. It's a good football player. Carnell Tate's even a scenario where he could come back to Ohio State next year. It'll be tough for him to do that, but, I mean, we've seen Buckeye receivers do it before. But then with Chris Henry Jr. coming in, I mean, it's ridiculous what Hartline's doing here. But I just think he's a smooth route runner. I think he's a guy, he can get open very easily for his size. But again, you kind of talked about it. He's not a burner. But the thing is, I feel like he's going to test better than we think. Like whenever he tested the combine, I'll admit, I didn't think Emeka Buko had 4.4 speed. I'm going to be completely honest with that. I think Carnell Tate could be similar. I think Carnell Tate runs a 4.5. I really do. At his size. And I think you take that. But Carnell Tate, I would love him in Cleveland because I think we need a guy like that. And again, I don't think we're going to be picking in a position to even take him unless, kind of like you said, we win 7 games. Maybe they trade back scenario. There are scenarios where it could happen. But Carnell, man, he just is a good football player. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't have to be a guy that lights you up with traits. But he doesn't need to do that. And I think he's good enough to be a first-round pick in the draft. I really want to see him against Texas today because Jeremiah Smith's going to be the focus all season long. I want to see if Carnell Tate can break out and have that 1,000-yard season. I think that's the next step here. He has that. I think he solidifies himself. Again, not that stats should be the ultimate determination if you're a first-round pick, But to really say he's the next one that Hartline's developed into an NFL first rounder, I need to see the results of that. And so I think 1,000 yards, 6-7 touchdowns are really realistic for him. I'm expecting him to have an absolute huge role in the Buckeye offense. Even though you bring in Max Clare, the Purdue transfer at tight end, I know he's going to be fed too. Brandon Enos is going to take over at the third receiver in this offense. Another former, I feel like I said it nauseum, another former 5-star. But yeah, man, I love I truly love Carnell Tate. He's a quiet guy, does his business and works hard. And he embodies what it means to be an Ohio State wide receiver.
Yeah, he always feels like to me like a high end 2 at the next level. So it's like if you can go out there and be a high end 2 this year for Jeremiah Smith, like you said, like I know stats aren't everything again, like you said, but like yeah, if everybody's paying attention to Jeremiah Smith and you're able to light it up, there's a spot for that guy, right? There's always a spot for a guy like, the Browns are looking for one next to Jerry Jeudy, right? Like, obviously we'll see what happens this year, but like every team needs that guy that like, hey, yeah, you do need to pay attention to that guy on the other side, but don't think you can get lax on my side. Like it's like pass rushers with Myles Garrett. It's like, I'm very interested to see. I'm very interested to see what like Mason Graham and a healthy Mike Hall and some guys like that all of a sudden when they're not getting double teamed. I'm very interested to see. So it's just like, hey, I may not be a star, but like I can play.
Exactly, and that's the big thing. He's not that star. Like I'm just gonna be. He's just not. But he can have those moments for him, and I think he's gonna end up being. I think he's gonna have a big year. Especially under, and this is not a knock on Will Howard because Will Howard had a great year at Ohio State. He's now under a guy that is going to air it out. And keep in mind, Brian Hartline brought in all these 5-stars. I expect him to take advantage of the talent he's brought in. Not that Ohio State's not going to run the ball, but Brian Hartline's going to use the guys he recruited and brought in because now Brian Hartline's the one making the decisions on the offensive side. And so I think he's going to air it out a lot this year. So I'm expecting a huge year from Carnell Tate.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for that one. So on the other side, when we talk about defense, a guy that I am looking at for Texas, another safety. There's 2 great safeties in this game. And Michael Taff, the safety from Texas. He's a guy that I have written about over at theobr.com that I've previewed this going into this season as one of the top safeties in this class for me. And he gets an opportunity, as we've talked about today, to go up against Julian Sayin, who's making his first start, right? Like, when you're coming in and making your first start against Ohio State, against Texas, because I got to go back and forth, right? Like you're like, oh, which one am I talking about? Because they're both like, like both Arch and Julian Sayin are essentially Arch has played a little bit more. But they're essentially in the same role for today in terms of like what their careers have been. So he's going to go against Michael Taff, who I think is one of the smarter free safeties in football. And I think he's just got great instincts back there as a deep free safety. I think he's got really nice recovery speed. So I want to see how Julian Sayin navigates that because even when I see Michael Taff get beat on tape, he's got really fluid hips and his ability to like flip and run and recover is really good. So it's like, how are you going to operate with that kind of safety back there? Like, because he's just so good at reading a quarterback's eyes and anticipating what they're going to do with the ball. So, and he's only 200 pounds, but he also wants to hit you. Like he wants to hit you. So like, it's a big deal today, man. Like he's got another safety back there roaming in the background. I think Michael Taff of Texas is a guy you're gonna have to watch closely.
No, I agree with that, and I'm really curious. I'm just gonna. By the way, if people can't tell, I switched to my phone because my computer decided to randomly glitch. So that was a new one. So I'm just gonna stay on my phone it's just gonna be easier. But anyway, with Taft, I'm curious on what his role is today, and what I mean by that. Texas, to their credit, did a really good job on Jeremiah Smith in the Cotton Bowl, and I'm expecting bracketed coverage. I'm expecting them to potentially put Taft over the top there and force other Buckeyes to beat you. Now, that being said, Ohio State is improved at the tight end position, and you could make the case weaker at wide receiver. You could make the case they're weaker at wide receiver because you lost to Mecca Buka, who set multiple school records.
Yep.
But Brandon Enos in his own right is a very good player. Mylan Graham's going to get snaps today too. Maybe Bryson Rodgers a little bit. So I'm expecting them, though, to bracket Jeremiah. I think the last thing Texas wants, I mean this, is for Jeremiah Smith to beat them. That's just the way I see it. Yeah. And so I think they're going to bracket him a lot. Now, that being said, I think Heartline, the first drive, you might see Jeremiah Smith touch the ball twice just to get him involved in the game. But then Texas is going to find ways just to take him out. Like, and whether or not they can do it remains to be. I still think Jeremiah Smith, to me, and I hate to say this because I feel like I'm unbiased when you host an Ohio State podcast. Like, you say these things and you're just so biased. Jeremiah Smith is the best player in the country, and I firmly believe if he was in the draft, he's the number one pick as a wide receiver. He's just that good. Now, Texas is going to have to do that with Taft, but I want to see how much Julian Sayin airs it out down the field, because one thing Ohio State loves, and you've seen it for years, I've seen it under Ryan Day, crossing routes, man. Crossing routes galore. It is my favorite play on College Football 26 because it's so unstoppable. Because you get these now in a video game, these guys get held. It's so weird. But anyway, it's so tough for a defense to defend if they're in zone cover, like if they're not in zone coverage. My bad. And then, so I'm expecting a lot of that. I don't know how much Sayin's going to air it out. I know they want to do that. But again, when you have a guy like Taft back there, I almost wonder you might see a shot, like a couple shots. I'm not expecting them to exclusively air it out deep. I think they're going to try and do that with Julian a little bit more when you play Grambling State and you play some of the other lower level schools that they'll face here in the next couple weeks.
Well, they're facing my Bobcats in a couple.
Hey, to be fair about the Bobcats, Parker Navarro is for real.
That dude's legit, man.
I saw him play in the MAC championship at Ford Field last year. Oh, that dude can play. But I just think is going to be aggressive, but he's not. I don't think that he's going to have say and push it deep much. That's just my opinion. Now, I'll tell you that. I'll tell you something. If they came out the first play of the game and took a shot with saying, you know what? Sign me up, because I'd like to just see. I just want to see it. Like I want to see it, but I'm just not expecting a whole lot there.
Yeah, just see how it goes. Like you know, like let's see what happens here. All right, we'll shift our focus from Ohio State, Texas. Let's talk about some of the other matchups. First one I want, and then I'll kick it over to you for a matchup that maybe you're interested in. At 2:30, Indiana takes on Old Dominion. And for me, I get it. They're not facing a Texas or whatever, anything like that. But Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback at Indiana, is on my preseason 7. I have him quarterback 7 on my preseason. Yeah, okay. I believe in the upside of some of these other guys. No, I have him. I'm sorry, I have him at 6. 6. I forgot that I took Arch Manning out temporarily. I just took him out for a while because I just don't think he's going to be there. So I think having that conversation is wasting our time. But anyway, he's in my top. He's in borderline top 5. Fernando Mendoza, the Cal transfer, comes over to Indiana, and we saw what Curt Cignetti did talking about the Ohio Bobcats. I watched Curtis Rourke a ton when he was at Ohio University, and he was a good quarterback. Like I'm not saying he was bad, but he was not who he was at Indiana last year. Like what he did in that system with Curt Cignetti at Indiana was awesome. Now you got Fernando Mendoza, who I think physically is significantly more talented than Curtis Rourke. And now he's getting into that system with Curt Cignetti to see what happens. And, obviously I will only be able to watch bits and pieces of this game because I'll still be watching Ohio State. Yeah. But this will be a game that I will rewatch later. And I know it's not a big matchup. We'll see what he does down the road. But the first look at Mendoza under Cignetti today, I think is a very big deal for me. So I'm looking forward to that game.
I'll admit, too, I'm excited to see Mendoza play. I've been hearing a lot of people talk about him, and people forget Georgia was trying to land him, too, in the transfer portal. And he chose Indiana. The only thing I'll say about Indiana, and this is what's so frustrating, they're going to probably be close to the playoff, if not in it. because they play absolutely nobody all year. And it's really unfortunate because I want to see them against higher level competition. They don't play Ohio State this year. I want to see Mendoza against that higher level, but it's hard to argue with the results at Indiana. I mean, he could put up monster numbers, and he very well could be in the Heisman conversation at the end of the year. Big quarterback. I mean, he reminds me of a Stefanski. If you're thinking of a Stefanski type, that's what he reminds me of. So does the other guy that I'll highlight here at 3:30. Again, there's a key game. I'm sure we'll get to it here on the nightcap, but the 3:30 game, I'll probably watch some of this. I'm going to admit, I'm going to flip between. I mean, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm going to probably be having quad box up on YouTube TV.
You're going to need like 6 of them, man.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's ridiculous, the schedule. But I don't watch a ton of other Big Ten teams if, like, there's a ranked game on. I just don't. I mean, a lot of people do. I don't. I like see highlights and things like that. I do want to see Penn State against Nevada a little bit. And the big reason why, I'm not here to criticize Drew Aller because I think the offense that they run it doesn't seem to tailor him very well. And, like, it was all Tyler Warren based. Now, everyone's crowning Penn State as the Big Ten champs and that they're going to be, some say national champs. One, James Franklin's their coach, so that's why I doubt that. I don't know what this offense looks like without Tyler Warren, regardless if you bring back Allen and Singleton. But Drew Aller, I need to see him actually push the ball consistently down the field in complete passes. He's got the makeup of being a quarterback. Like, he just does. He's built like one. He's mobile. He's got to be able to throw the ball accurately down the field, and I don't see it enough consistently. His big test, of course, we all know it. It's coming later this year. Is it get at Ohio State? Can he perform then? But I'm just not. I saw there was rumors that if he came out, the Browns would take him. The Browns would have taken him this year, and I just think to myself, one, there's a lot of development needs done there to take him potentially at number 2, which anyway, to take him at 2. I don't see it. Like, and right now, I need proof that he can take that next step. And the tough evaluation is going to be if he doesn't air it out much this year, how do you truly evaluate him as a prospect? I mean, yeah, you can say pro day or he won't work out the combine. What am I kidding? At a pro day, what does that really prove, though, in that type of environment? So I need to see him actually. Yeah, exactly. See, man, I need to see it in game. And I know it's Nevada, but I want to see it. I want to see if they take those shots. He needs to put on tape that he can consistently do that, because if you're that big of a quarterback and you can't hit accurately down the field, he shouldn't be a top 10 pick. And there's a lot of people that are penciling him in potentially as that second quarterback. I'm saying Arch because that's where everyone is just still projecting that. But having him as that second quarterback, third quarterback, and I don't see it. And I want to actually see if he's taken that step or if it's more of the same. If it's more of the same, I'm going to be out because I just don't believe. I don't care if he's from Cleveland. That doesn't mean anything. Would it be cool to have a Cleveland guy at quarterback? Glad we didn't take Mitch Trubisky over Myles Garrett. So I need to see Drew Aller take that step. So that's what I'm watching at 3:30. Like I said, I'll have quad box on for that. I guarantee it. But I need to see that from him because to me, that's going to determine if I see it against Nevada, I know I'll probably see it more throughout the season. But I need to see it against Nevada. There's no reason you don't take deep shots against Nevada at home for a 3:30 kickoff. So I need to see it from Drew Aller, and I'm hoping he takes that step because, again, the story would be great if a Cleveland boy was able to lead the Browns, making them relevant and potentially one day, and hopefully our lifetime. I mean, I'm about to be 30 in February. Make a Super Bowl at some point in our lives. So it would be a great story, but I need to see him take that step today.
Here's the thing that Aller's 4 for me. He's quarterback 4 going into if you put Arch in there, he's quarterback 5. I just don't have Arch in there. I just, when it came to my rankings and my write-up, I'm like, I'm just not putting him in there.
I get that.
It's like you talked about it with Aller. It's like the traits are there, but one of his traits is a big arm. And if you can't use that big arm because you can't throw the deep ball, then I don't give a shit if you have a big arm. That's and I have him 4 because I'm still betting on the high end of those traits because I'm a traits guy. Like that's everybody who's followed me long enough when it comes to the draft and stuff. That's what
traits galore.
I love me some traits. I mean, that's why I was all over Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. As I'm like, look at these traits. Like we've never seen these. But yeah, like the thing with Aller that's crazy is his mechanics are still so sloppy, even though he's had private tutoring on that since the 9th grade. Yeah, so like I don't want a 3-year starter to still have a developmental label. So if you can't take that next step, I'm dropping you big time. Like big time. Like, yeah, like would he like, does his traits still mean he's going to go like day 2? Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah.
But like, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that at 5. I'm not taking it at 10. I'm not taking it at 15, you know, like we've seen the Anthony Richardson story where Anthony Richardson didn't play any college football, and they've already, because he played next to none. He just didn't play when they drafted him, and they've already given up to an extent on him. And it's like with Aller, he's going to have 3 years as a starter. So it's like a very pivotal thing for him today, right? Like it's very pivotal. So I'm with you 100%. I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to jump around here. We got about 15 minutes left, so we're going to just jump around. So we'll go back and forth. We'll just go back and forth about some games and some draft guys and some things that we're interested in. And we'll go ahead and go. Actually, this might end up taking the rest of the show, and that's fine. Let's talk LSU Clemson, man. That 7 o'clock game. Was it 7:30? 7:30 game. 30. Clemson has, what did Todd McShay in the summer say? Something like Clemson has like 4. If I pull up the consensus big board, and I say that to everybody who doesn't know about the consensus big board, which is NFL mockdraftdatabase.com. They pull all the big boards from, you know, all the major draft analysts, and they make a consensus. And I like that just because it gives you an idea where, oh, this guy's super high on this guy, but this guy's super low, and everywhere in between it puts in here. In their top 10, there are 3 Clemson Tigers in their top 10 on that consensus big board. And then if I keep going, I'm going to see, there's one at 19. There's one at 27. So I've got 4 in the top 27. No, 5 in the top 27. Keep going. I think that's where it kind of starts to drive off. So yeah, 5 in the top 27 on the consensus big board going into the season are Clemson Tigers. So there is a number of them, and LSU is in kind of a weird year. I don't know who LSU is. But it all starts on the consensus big board. Number 2 is Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. Number 3 is LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier. Who my friend Bill Sparks has referred to as Baker Mayfield light, because that's who Garrett Nussmeier is. He doesn't quite have the arm as Baker, but he's got the size and the gunslinger mentality that Baker Mayfield has. And then Cade Klubnik, tools for days, brother, tools for days. These 2 quarterbacks, man, like this game, in Nuss is dealing with a little bit of an injury. You know, what is it on Broken Arrow? Broken Arrow says, I wish I could afford to watch the game. You know what? I was talking to my wife about this yesterday, how pissed off I was that the game I wanted to watch like tomorrow, or there was a game I wanted to watch and it was on Peacock. And I'm like, I'm not getting Peacock. I'm like, to watch everything, it's so ridiculous now. What's going on, man? Good to see you down there. But like to watch all these games, it's getting ridiculous right now. But these 2 quarterbacks, man, like which one do you think, like who do you like better between? Because I've got Nuss quarterback 2 and Klubnik quarterback 3.
Okay, so for me, this is my thing. So I'll start off with the one that I would have second out of the 2.
Okay.
Nuss, for me, last year I saw a guy that if there was a blitz, he panicked. And when he was under pressure, he just got rattled, and he did not look good. Like, and I saw it consistently. I remember that Texas A&M game especially. Oh my goodness, that dude was seeing ghosts out there. And people were trying to get me on the Nuss bus, and I was like, okay, because I saw some earlier games in the year. I'm like, okay, like we have something here. And then I saw him against higher level competition, and he went downhill, man. And I have no doubt that if he goes in the draft this year, someone's taking him high. I just believe that because that's the era we live in. When you need a quarterback, you believe on the traits, you're going to bet on a guy like that. And I want to see him take that next step. I agree with Bill Sparks. He does have that gunslinger mentality. He also is absolutely stacked at wide receiver now. You add Barium Browning, the speedster from Kentucky, who I'm telling people, these Kentucky transfers, because I've had the opportunity to go see Kentucky play at Kroger Field because my best friend, his wife, their family has season tickets.
Oh,
I've
cool.
seen these guys play with Devin Leary at quarterback. Devin Leary, who's awful, okay? They've dealt with terrible quarterback play at Kentucky. You already saw Dane Key score for Nebraska. Barium Browning's a speedster, man, and you put him with a quarterback like Garrett Nussmeier, and he's gonna feast. I like Nick Anderson too, the transfer from Oklahoma. They're stacked, but then you turn it over, and Clemson is too. For Nuss, I need consistency. That's the biggest thing for me with Nuss. If you give me the consistency on top of the traits, I mean, I can agree with you as far as quarterback too, but I need to see it. Like I need that consistency, and it starts tonight. This game is gonna be incredible. I love Cade Klubnik though. I love Cade Klubnik. It's traits galore. He can run. I feel like he can make all the throws. I think the biggest thing for him is sometimes he gets a little too amped up. That's what I see. But the thing is, I like that. I like my quarterback being amped up. I don't want a guy that's nervous, and I don't see that from him really. I see a guy that is just he's always so lit up. He's always ready to go. And I love that with Cade Klubnik. And he's definitely on the smaller side as far as when I think of Stefanski quarterbacks. Now, it's hard to say that because now we have Dylan Gabriel. So, but before that, I think he likes a guy that's a little bit bigger as a quarterback. Cade Klubnik is still 6'2", 210. But I still go back to Mendoza. I go back to another guy I go back to a Lenora Sellers type. Man, talk about traits galore. Lenora Sellers. But out of the two, Cade Klubnik for me. And I think I said this too on our pod. I think Clemson to me should be the number one team in the country. They brought back nearly everybody. You bring back, arguably, you could make the argument the top quarterback in the country. They're loaded at receiver. On the defensive side of the ball too. That defensive line is ridiculous. So for me, I like Cade Klubnik better because I think there's more tools to work with. And I think he's more consistent, right? At least right now, than Garrett Nussmeier. And you mentioned it. Nuss is battling an injury. It sounds like he's fine. He's gonna be full go, of course. But that is something to watch in this game. And they are going to Death Valley. It is a home game for Clemson. Yeah, but I'm a Cade Klubnik guy. I am. I think if you could make the argument, I would take him at 1. If he's the type of guy that you want as far as he wins games, he's going to battle. He can run. I want my quarterback to be able to run. I don't want to statue anymore. So for me, it's Cade Klubnik over Garrett Nussmeier.
And you talk about just for everybody keeping track, tomorrow South Carolina takes on Vatech at 3 o'clock, and that is my QB1 Lenore Sellers. So yeah, you want to talk about?
I can't wait for that game.
Good Lord, the tools on this kid, and he did all this stuff. So when you talk about Lenore Sellers, he was 19 last year. I just want to let it be very clear that like he did all that stuff as a teenager, but whatever. But the thing with Nussmeier, like, that is going to be really interesting is he's going against 2 defensive linemen today that don't bode well for a guy that's not super mobile and has a potential knee injury, even if it's only limiting him a little bit. Peter Woods is like, oh God, like I always get him mixed up, so I have to bring it up. Peter Woods is the defensive tackle, and then TJ Parker is the defensive end. Both of them in the top 10. Go ahead.
Keep an eye on Will the transfer from Purdue as well. Dabo does not recruit transfers. He's not a guy. He's even said it. He's not a guy that likes to use the portal. He went after this kid specifically. So I just want to throw that name out there too. I'm expecting him to. If Dabo wants you out of the portal. Clearly, he thinks you're going to be a stud because Dabo has criticized the portal. and says he won't do it. He added multiple transfers this offseason. So just keep that in mind on the Clemson side.
And then you know what? For Clemson fans, I don't like Dabo. I don't know why I don't. I just don't like him. I just like I love a lot of this team. Like Peter Woods is crazy athlete playing inside. Like you should not be able to. So watch him. He's number 5 on the consensus big board. Not that like I think the Browns are going to go after it, but you never know because I'm just saying like if there's a world. Okay, listen. If there's a world that exists out there with Myles Garrett, Mason Graham, Mike Hall, Peter Woods, and whatever else you want to talk about, because Peter Woods can kick outside. You've got all these guys that can kick inside for Cleveland and guys that can kick outside. You get 800. But I like Nuss because like he's the son of a coach, and I think that the processor is there. Like you could see he waited his turn. That's one thing I want to give Nuss credit for. Like, and I don't blame anybody that uses the transfer portal. If you go somewhere and then somebody else comes in, like Jaden Daniels came in and took over in front of Gary Nussmeier, it's like I can understand if like it's even if it's not a big school, but like if a MAC school calls you and is like, we want to start you tomorrow. Like, I don't blame you. Go do it like, and get your bag. But like his turn, but he looked like a guy last year that was the first year as a starter. So you're like, okay, you've got to be better this year because like, the inconsistent, there were times he couldn't throw a ball into Lake Michigan and hit water like that. There were times, right? Like,
it was bad.
It was bad. And then it's like by the way, you get Peter Woods and TJ Parker. And don't forget the corner. I know he's a little small, but Avian Terrell, the corner for Clemson, that's a Browns candidate for me. Like that dude he's smaller. Like that's the one thing that you're going to say he's smaller, but I'm like, this dude is a freak. And now it's like, hey, Nuss, by the way, you're a little banged up. Good luck. Prime time against this Clemson. Like I'm telling you guys, if you go watch this Clemson, just especially their defense, I think that defense is just riddled with NFL players. And I'm not so sure about LSU's offensive line. And that kind of scares me. I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I'm just saying I'm not sure they're going to be good. So like
2 transfers on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Josh Thompson, the offensive lineman from Northwestern, and Braylon Moore, the center from Virginia Tech. So just something to keep in mind. Ohio State was going after both of them, by the way. But just something to keep in mind. Yeah, something to keep in mind. Because I feel like with transfers, everyone assumes that it clicks right away, especially on the offensive line. That can be tough. I mean, regardless if you've been practicing all offseason, it's different when it's in a game situation. You're next to guys you've never been next to before. Because offensive lines take time to coexist, so that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. But yeah, man, and I'm glad you brought up the need for defensive back because all of a sudden the Browns need corners. So I'm glad you brought that part up.
Worst case scenario, not just Martin Emerson getting hurt, but Cam Mitchell suddenly forgetting how to play. That's a
not ideal.
I want to just real quick. I just want to throw something out there, and then I'll give you a chance to plug all your socials. Because if you're not following Tyler and you like Ohio State, then you're wrong. I'm a big fan of Auburn center Connor Lew. That dude balled last night against Baylor. Like the offensive line itself wasn't great necessarily for Auburn, but like good start for Connor Lew because like there's 3 centers I really, really like in this class. Braylon Moore that you just talked about, the Virginia Tech transfer that now is going to get some reps against Peter Woods. That's great. Good luck with that. And he's a small one too. He's a smaller center. So that's awesome. But Jake Slaughter's my number 1 center he plays for Florida. They play today. But Connor Lew was my number 2 center coming from Auburn. He's a draft crush of mine already. Had a really good game against Baylor. Was moving people, he's so smart. And I thought that it was just a great game and I wanted to pat myself on the back. Anyway. Make sure you go over to theobr.com and subscribe because right now you can pay like $30 for a full year membership. Like you just don't want to do that. Tyler, I appreciate you so much, man. Before we get out of here, tell everybody where they can find out your stuff.
So you guys can follow me. It's right there underneath my name on Twitter, T_Johnson_TJ on Twitter. On that, I talk Browns, Cavs, all kinds of stuff. Even if anyone that has Peacock likes English Premier League soccer, Leeds United's my team, and we're about to get relegated again. But anyway, from the Premier League, but more than likely. Anyway, as far as the show, the Scarlet and Gray Podcast, you can go give us a follow on Twitter as well, at the SG, that's capitalized _ podcast. So our show is normally once a week. We have a live show. That's normally on Monday. I'm waiting for my co-host to come back. He and his wife actually recently had their first child.
Oh.
So I've been doing some solos on there. But normally what we do, just so you guys know, is a little bit of a recap. So like we'll have a Texas Ohio State recap. But then every Friday on YouTube, on the Network 216 YouTube channel, we release a game day preview. So the Ohio State Texas one, you guys can go check that out if you want. That's available. But that's what we do. We're on Apple. We're on Spotify. And I'll say this because I say it on every show that we do. We have a ton of people watching. If you guys would go on Apple Podcasts and just search the Scarlet and Gray Podcast, just click at the very bottom, scroll down, click 5-star review. We had a bunch of Michigan fans that infiltrated that and gave us 4 stars and completely have tanked our rating on the show. So again, there's so many of you guys watching. I want to say, Jacob, I appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah.
If you guys could, you don't even have to follow us on Twitter or me. I don't care. If you go on Apple Podcasts and just click at the very bottom, 5-star. You don't have to write anything. I don't care. And if you want to, be my guest. But you don't have to. That takes 15 seconds of your time. If you guys would do that, that actually means more than any follow you could give us. So because, again, Michigan fans infiltrated that and tanked it. So, but yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. This was a lot of fun. And I'm just pumped college football's back. Like, it's having a newborn and having college football on all day. It's kind of the dream right there. So definitely looking forward to it. And real quick, 27-17 Ohio State over Texas.
Okay. All right. All right. I like it. I just gave you 5 stars. I see they tanked you all the way down to 2.9. That's rough, dude. Like,
and as you can tell, nobody put a comment on there. So you know they went on there and just dropped 1 stars.
Yep.
So it is what it is. It's the rival. It's unfortunate that we do that because like because it just shouldn't be done because a lot of hard work goes into it. If you want to criticize, I'm fine with being criticized all day. Seriously, I want to know how to improve. But if you're just gonna tank the rating, man, like that's bad. I hope it doesn't happen again. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. Lots of great content coming up for the week 1 of the Brown season next week. And I'll be back again on Saturday for another draft show for the college football preview for the week. I appreciate you guys so much. Please make sure you subscribe, give us a thumbs up, check us out over at the obr.com. I will see you guys again next time.